great sister-in-law, great daughter-in-law, great wife, amazing wife, and great relative of mine. It's my honor to introduce our amazing co-chair, by the way. Our amazing co-chair, because this is a great honor as well. And she's been doing such an amazing, amazing job at the RNC with regards to election integrity and everything else. She's going to talk about that. She's going to give us an update. It's my distinct honor to introduce our greatest co-chair of RNC, Lara Trump.
For Trump in this room tonight. I have great news for everybody. 25 days from now, we are sending Donald J. Trump back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. If that's okay with everybody here. Yeah, let's go. And I just want to let y'all in on another little secret. We are winning the state of Michigan. Yeah, have to do it. God, thank you for that incredible introduction. I have to say, it is an honor to have the last name Trump. And I can tell you, growing up in North Carolina, I probably grew up like a lot of people in America. I never anticipated having the last name Trump. I certainly didn't anticipate being the co-chair of the RNC one day. But then to have other people as a part of this family, the Kushner family, who of course is, Jared is married to Ivanka, and then of course for Tiffany to meet Michael Bolos and have him as part of our family has been such an incredible honor, and we love you, and we are so excited, and there's nothing more that the Democrats like to hear than that there will be another Trump on the way. They love it. I just want to thank you guys for being here tonight. This is an exceptional moment in the history of America because I think had you gone back 10 years ago to see a crowd of people like this here in a room saying you were standing beside and supporting a Republican for President of the United States would have blown a lot of people's minds. But you guys in this room understand what's at stake right now. I don't even have to tell you. This is the most critical and crucial election of our lifetime. Anybody see Elon Musk up on stage in Butler, Pennsylvania with Donald Trump? We have people coming to this party that no one ever expected. Elon Musk, RFK Jr. of Kennedy, whose name is synonymous with the Democrat Party, has come over to support Donald Trump. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, of course. Yeah. But it's because we all understand what's going on right now. And try though they might to sell us Kamala Harris, a person who has gone through no democratic process whatsoever to be in her position. And I think what they're realizing very quickly is they can have the power of the mainstream media behind them, they can have all the money in the world behind them, but you can't make up for phoniness. And you can't make up for a fake bad candidate. And what you get on the other side with Donald Trump is authenticity. A real candidate and a real president for the United States of America. Yeah. So a quick backstory, how I ended up here as the co-chair of the RNC, just for a moment. And probably no one will appreciate this story more than Michael himself, because really, to get a call from our father-in-law is a very unique thing. Not unique that he doesn't call all the time, but it's a different experience sometimes when he wants you to do something. So I got a call one night in January from my father-in-law, and he said, we want you to run for co-chair of the RNC. I think this is perfect. You're the only one for this position. Would you do it? And I was like, oh my gosh, co-chair of the RNC. We would have 8 months by the time I took over that position until the most critical election in American history. A lot of work to do at the RNC, making sure a lot of the right things happen. I have 2 young kids, they're 5 and 7 years old. I said, I don't know if this is the right fit for me. I'm not sure that I want to take this job on. And he said, okay, honey, don't worry about it, but you're the only one. But you know what, think about it and you can let me know. And so it was that night while I was putting my kids in bed that I looked at my children, knowing how much time it would mean away from them, knowing how hard it would be for them that I was on the road traveling excessively, which is happening right now. But it is because of my kids that I realized I had to take this position and I had to take on this job. Yeah, it's not about us. It's not about us right now. It's about our children and our grandchildren and the future of this country. And so I called him back and I said, okay, I'll do it. And whenever Michael Watley, our chairman, and I took over the RNC, we said, how are we going to make sure that we don't go back and have the same mistakes that we saw in 2020? Because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, we can never repeat the 2020 election ever again in this country, right? We're not going to do that again. So we said, you know what, the RNC does a lot of jobs, and probably too many jobs. So we're going to pare it down, and we're going to focus like a laser on two things: get out the vote and protect the ballot. Just those. And we have the greatest person in the history of politics to help us get out the vote in Donald J. Trump, do we not? Yeah. And so we said, all right, we have got to focus heavily on election integrity. And we put ourselves a pretty lofty goal, we felt like, of 100,000 volunteers. We said, we're going to make sure that we have people in the room, eyes in the room, every time a vote is cast and counted. And we're going to say that we'll shoot for the stars, 100,000 volunteers that we're going to train to be poll watchers, poll workers, tabulation center folks, legal experts on the ground, everywhere in this country that it matters. And we'll see if we reach 100,000. I'm happy to report, as of 2 weeks ago, we have trained 200,000 people to do these jobs. And if you want to come be part of the team, protectthevote.com is the website. Just throw it out there for you. But this is important because we have to send a message out there, loud and clear, to anyone who would dare cheat in or cause some sort of nefarious activity in our election process. That if you cheat in our elections, we will find you, we'll track you down, and we will prosecute you to the full extent of the law. The media loves when I say that, so I say it all the time. And another thing, if you are a person who is here illegally and you are voting in our elections, we'll track you down, we'll prosecute you to the full extent of the law. That means you are leaving this. Trump projected, not just to win here in the state of Michigan, but to win states like New Mexico and New Hampshire this election for Donald Trump. Now don't kid yourself, we're not going to get complacent. We always play like we're 40 points behind up until the bell rings and the game is over, and that's how we're going to do this election. And we do have to swamp the vote. We do have to make it too big to rig. So I hope, is everybody in here registered to vote, by the way? Okay. Because if you're not, go to swampthevoteusa.com right now and get registered to vote. And make sure you don't go vote by yourself. Make sure you take a friend to vote. Make sure that you take your family to vote. Take your dentist, take your veterinarian, pediatrician, I don't care. As long as they're voting for Donald Trump, take them to the polling location. This is November 5th, okay? But it's incredible because knowing this man, Donald Trump, as long as I have, I know more so than anybody, maybe not as Michael and I are probably the two people who know, he did not need this job. You go back to that famous Oprah interview from, I believe, the 80s, where she asked Donald Trump, would you ever consider running for president of the United States? And he said, only if things got so bad, I felt I had no other choice. But if I ran, I would run to win. Well, they got back. 2015, he looked around at this country and he didn't recognize it. We were sending $150 billion to countries that hate us. while our veterans were dying waiting to get appointments at the VA. We had an economy that was on the downward spiral. We had manufacturing leaving America. We were getting ripped off by China, which has been talking about for decades as well. And he said, this is the time, now is when I'm going to run for president of the United States. And what was amazing to me is the vitriol and the aggression with which they came after this man. This is a man who had a great life, right? He was a famous guy from The Apprentice, a worldwide business name. I mean, quite frankly, everybody on both sides of the aisle liked Donald Trump. Hollywood, the music industry, even Howard Stern loved Donald Trump before he came down the golden escalator and announced he was running as a Republican for president of the United States. And I think we all naively in our family thought, after that crazy 2016 campaign, which, by the way, do you know what the New York Times percentage chance they gave Donald Trump to win on election day in 2016 was? 2% chance to win that election. And I'm just going to tell you guys, if you want to get yourself hyped up over the next 25 days, do yourself a favor. Go back and look up some of those YouTube videos of the folks in the mainstream media melting down, having to call state after state for Donald Trump. Yeah. Donald Trump wins Florida, Donald Trump wins Ohio. Remember when Donald Trump won Michigan? How mad they were? Go watch them. Get yourself ready. Make that part of your plan to get people out to vote in this election. But we naively thought, hey, after that election's over, Donald Trump won, they're going to be nice. Everybody's going to calm down. They're going to want what's best for the country, and they're going to get behind this president. Oh, were we wrong, right? They fought after this man and fought against him. Every single day, he was in that White House. Every step of the way, no matter what, no matter how good whatever he was trying to do was for the American people, they were fighting against him. And yet, look at all he got accomplished. Look at the fact that you had the lowest unemployment numbers for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and women when Donald Trump was in the White House. Look at the fact that you had trade deals with Mexico, with Canada, with China when Donald Trump was in the White House. You had the peace agreement, the Abraham Accords in the Middle East, instead of wars breaking out in the Middle East. Donald Trump was the only president that did not have a new war started while he was in the White House. How about the fact that we had a secure southern border when Donald Trump was in the White House? Yeah. Not one, but two meetings with Kim Jong-un of North Korea to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. Anybody want to picture Kamala Harris walking across the DMZ, shaking hands? Kim Jong-un? No, you would never see that. Because it takes what we'll call guts in this room to do something like that, and we know she doesn't have it, but we know who does. It's Donald Trump. The things he got accomplished in the first term in office were truly miraculous. And we have to send this man back to the White House. They have tried everything. They got him out, so he left in 2021. And I will never forget that trip back down to Mar-a-Lago on Air Force One, the last time we were ever on there. And we landed at Mar-a-Lago, and I remember, Michael, do you remember this? We had dinner, and he said to all of us, we were like, what do we do? How do we act right now? You know, this is not a great day. And he said, let's all get dinner tonight. And we were like, okay. And we sat down at dinner, and do you remember the first thing he said to us when we sat down at dinner? He was like, I gotta do it again. And we were like, oh my God, you just went through all this and you wanna do it again? And so then they had his number and they said, okay, this guy's gonna try it again. And when they knew for sure Donald Trump was going to try to go back and run a second time for the White House, they said, you know what we'll do? We'll just do a little raid on Mar-a-Lago. We'll do a raid on Mar-a-Lago, and that'll be unprecedented. No one's ever seen anything like that, and that'll scare him off, and he won't want to continue. And that didn't work. And people were like, something's wrong with this. And his poll numbers went up. They said, okay, the raid on Mar-a-Lago wasn't enough. Let's indict him. Yeah. No one's ever been indicted and gone on to run for president successfully. Let's indict him. And his poll numbers went up. They were like, maybe another indictment? Poll numbers went up. They said, you know what, call Fannie Willis down in Fulton County, Georgia. Get her to indict him and get her to get a mugshot of Donald Trump. And that'll put the nail in the coffin for Donald Trump. And what happened? Not only did his poll numbers go up, was that the greatest mugshot anybody's ever seen in their entire life? I think so, safe to say. Another indictment, 34 felony counts from Alvin Bragg, the nonsense with Letitia James, which you know is about to get overturned, right? That whole sham, bunch of garbage in New York. And his poll numbers went up. And they said, oh my gosh, what do we do with this guy? Donald Trump never considered himself to be a politician. He still doesn't today. The rules that traditionally apply to people do not apply to him. And even an assassin's bullet cannot stop this man from running for president and saving this country. He's given up a lot. Zeros off the back of his net worth. He's literally put his life on the line for this country, but that's where we all come in. Because now we've got to have his back, and we've got to be on the team to make sure he is re-elected. So I say this all the time. I know that everybody in here is doing your part, but one day somebody will look at you and they will say, what did you do in the year 2024 when it was all on the line? Because Elon Musk said it on that stage with Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, if we don't get this right, this very well could be the last election we have in this country. Because the things they want to do on the left, and don't kid yourself, the same machine that's been behind Joe Biden, steering him as an empty suit. He doesn't know where he is, what hurricane, I don't know what's going on. That guy spent more time on the beach than anybody retired I've ever seen in my life, and he's supposed to be the president of the United States. Same machine behind Joe Biden is the same machine behind Kamala Harris, except she buys in to the far left ideology. She buys in to paying with taxpayer money for sex changes, for illegal aliens coming across our southern border, for people locked up in prison. This is nonsense. This is something we cannot have in this country. It'll be far worse with Kamala Harris, and America cannot afford 4 more years of what we've just lived through. That's why we got to get him back. So, you can all do your part by taking people, getting them out to vote. Heck, I don't care if you got to buy them a sandwich or a soda afterwards. You know they do it on the Democrat side. Y'all buy them the sandwich when you're done. Take them out to vote. Get everybody you know out to vote. We will swamp the vote. We'll make it too big to rig. And guys, I always say it. I am exhausted already. We have, as of right now, 24 days, I believe, until polls close here in the state of Michigan, okay? 24 days. And I'm tired already, but we're gonna work hard. No sleep for me. I don't want anybody in here resting or relaxing. So can we shut this down early on election night? I don't wanna go till 3 a.m. again. I can't do it. I'm tired. What do you say we all go to bed early on November 5th, knowing Donald Trump will become the next president of the United States? Beautiful. I love it. I just really want to say thank you, guys. Thank you for the incredible support. Thank you for believing in Donald Trump. Thank you for supporting our family. We are so appreciative. And I gotta tell you, it is going to be the sweetest moment on November 5th when we see Donald Trump re-elected as our 47th president. And we say thank you to you guys. Let's make America